Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. And I know it's been a long time since we did the podcast. So today I wanted us to actually talk about the Minister Blade Nzimande leads media brief on opening NSFAS funding application for 2024. Remember, now it's time for students to actually go and register since it's time for them to make changes. So I don't want to waste any time, so I want to play the speech quickly for you so that you can be able to understand what was covered by the Minister Blade Nzimande on his media briefing.
Of all public universities and TVET colleges into the student-centered model wherein students apply directly to NSFAS for funding. We do not intend to go back to giving money to institutions to then decide who gets funded. None whatsoever. We undertook a forensic investigation some years ago, and we found that there was just a lot of corruption. That's why we decided on a student funding model. Let students apply directly to NSFAS. We don't intend to change that. We think it has improved a lot in terms of better funding of students and distribution of these resources. In this current financial year, NSFAS is funding just over 1 million students, and this follows an unprecedented surge in the number of applications received by the scheme. The entity has been working tirelessly to ensure that it improves on its processes for application and ensuring quick turnaround times on funding decisions in preparation for the 2024 academic year. You would agree with me that in order for NSFAS to successfully implement the funding of students in 2024, there needs to be closure of the 2023 funding cycle.
All right. Going back to what was happening with NSFAS, it was giving money to the local institution for them to decide on which one of the students actually qualified to register with NSFAS. And most of the time, you find out that the institution sometimes actually keeps the money for itself to actually maybe grow their pocket. So what was happening is that most students wouldn't even get the funding, wouldn't even get their money, because you'll find out the institution takes a quite long time before it actually releases the funds. You can wait for 3 months without receiving your monthly funding. Some students actually were called into the office and said NSFAS isn't paid, so you won't be able to receive your performance status. You won't be receiving your performance reviews or results. So it was becoming quite a problem because of the institution treasuries itself. It was actually keeping the funding from the students. Let me quickly make you a quickly example so that everybody here can understand. It might take the budget of let's say it gives each and every organization a budget of 15 million, and it will be funding 100 students, let me say so, for a quarter of a year or maybe for 3 times, depending with the duration of the modules and the courses that each and every student is undergoing. So it will take a certain amount for a student to actually finish their current modules until they need funding for the next one. So you only find out, okay, in all those modules that a student actually undertook, you only find out NSFAS only maybe covered few of them, and the organization actually kept the budget to itself, or it actually says if it was supposed to fund that 100 people, they will only find out that they're only finding 50 and they're keeping 50 to themselves. So now what's the minister trying to say is that students undergraduate who be looking to be funded by NSFAS needs to apply directly to NSFAS, not using the college site. You're not going to be able to register using your student support office. Now you have to go straight to the website of NSFAS and register so that you can be funded by NSFAS, and the amount or the money won't be sent to the college so that the college will send you the money. No, the money will be actually sent directly into one's account so that you'll be able to take care of your daily activities, your daily needs, and you'll be able to attend classes accordingly without any boundaries of not having enough amount of money to actually attend your classes. So that's what the minister is trying to cover. Let me keep on playing the video again so that you can hear.
Of the 2023 funding cycle. This includes the finalization of all the appeals and payments of all outstanding allowances for the academic year 2023. NSFAS is determined to do that, and we've insisted that NSFAS must do that. For all those students who did not get successful funding responses for the 2023 academic year, they are also encouraged to apply for the 2024 funding cycle. Let me also indicate that the proposed 2024 funding policy is almost complete and will be issued by the end of November to allow stakeholders to prepare for the 2024 academic year. I do need to say this, that after this press conference, I am still going to be engaging all the key stakeholders before the end of the year in order to ensure that everything is in place, including finalization of policy, meeting with the university vice chancellors, meeting with the TVET college principals, meeting with the student leadership, meeting with the registrars of our institutions in order to make sure that we are indeed prepared for the 2024 academic year. I have already been doing that, but it's very important that we need to ensure that we tie up anything. The funding policy that I'm talking about, that we are just finalizing, will also cover issues of eligibility criteria and the issue of student allowances. This is also, by the way, being done against the background of the fact that we are still studying very closely the implications of the medium-term budget policy statement for higher education, for post-school education and training. I'm hoping that moving forward with the policy, as we normally do, we intend, of course, to review the policy each year so as to make sure that we adapt to changing circumstances and we are able to lead from the front. Now, on the opening of the 2024 application season, NSFAS has officially opened its applications this morning, today, and will close on the 31st of January 2024, which gives the scheme students just over 2 months to apply. We urge students to apply for NSFAS. That's their future, those who qualify. And no one must be misled into not applying. The only way to access NSFAS is through applying. Now that we are open, we are calling upon all prospective students to apply, those who will be coming in for the first time and those who are continuing, and also urge parents to move closer to the process so that we are able to ensure that as many of those who must benefit must indeed benefit. The reason we are opening the application period now is that NSFAS was awaiting SARS completion of the tax period, which is very important to enable NSFAS to have the necessary and updated information available during the application season. Remember, we check applications against SARS in order to ensure that the scheme is not robbed. People claiming to be looked after by grannies when in fact the parents are there and some of them are earning enough to be able to pay for themselves. Furthermore, this is done to afford the beneficiaries shorter turnaround times for decision making, which is aligned to NSFAS financial eligibility assessment, which requires updated SARS information as I
Now, as in each and every learner in your matric, in matric years, now they say the registrations are actually open for you to go and register, and make sure that you register because you only have 2 months to register, as the minister just said. And when you register, make sure that you have all the right documentations and your story makes sense. Don't lie because they're saying that now they are going to make they are going to make researches to actually see that if each and every student that's applying for NSFAS, it actually meet the requirements to apply. Because one, you only find out people are actually applying for NSFAS while they don't need it. So that means they're taking a position for another student who are supposed to be funded by their scheme. Number two, there are those ones who actually lie and say they're living with their grandmothers and or they're living with a guardian and they cannot afford to pay their fees or their school fees. So they actually lie so that they can get the funding and maybe spend it on other stuff. So now NSFAS is going to make investigations before it approves each and every application. So make sure that when you register, you actually meet the requirements before you get yourself into trouble, and you have a maximum of 2 months to register. So now, since it's almost December, so I think now you have time to register using your of course June report cards. You can apply for NSFAS. Then by the end of early January, I think by the 14th or sometimes it's 13th of January, then you'll be getting your statement. So yeah, you can actually use that statement to apply, and make sure that you are registered with the institution first before you apply, because they will need a letter or your student number so that they can actually fund you. So make sure that you have those necessary documentations in place. Along your affidavit, you have your South African ID and the parents or the guardians ID and affidavit. Even payslip, if they actually receiving payslip. If they don't receive any payslips, then you can actually tell your parents or your guardian to actually go to the police station and write an affidavit if they are employed and how much are they earning at that moment. So it will replace the importance of payslip, because every information will be captured on the affidavit. And also you need two different affidavits: your parent one, the one that's written by your parent, and the other one written by you. So all of them, they must state why they need funding and that you don't qualify and you need to pay your fees. Then you need it's either both parents, if you live with both parents. If you're living with one, just means one parent can actually help you out with your registrations. So it's just that simple, but make sure that you use this time wisely before you find yourself out of funding and you cannot attend any school next year. So I urge you guys to actually register while the time is still here, while it's still early like this, so that you can actually secure your spot with funding. So that was the Minister Blade Nzimande on NSFAS, and it's opened